Hello and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes all we can do is try to get through a day and that's okay. I'm Amanda and today we're going to be talking about this trend of being crunchy and go into my approach to medical treatment.
I'm trying really hard, I promise. But all that I could do today was cuddle my dog and cry.
Okay, so before we get really into the video, I thought that I should try to define crunchy for people who are not chronically online because it's a very internet slang thing. There's a lot of aesthetics that are connected to being crunchy. One would be like the clean girl aesthetic or granola girl. But essentially, the way that I would kind of define it is focusing on a holistic, naturopathic lifestyle. A lot of focus on organic foods and non-traditional treatments for medical things. The thing is, with this lifestyle, and by completely identifying yourself to one specific aesthetic, what tends to happen, what I've seen online, is that people start to get quite extreme with their views, and so it's not just about eating healthy, it's all of a sudden certain foods are evil and certain medical treatment, mainly traditional medical advice and treatment, is considered horrible and will hurt you more than it will help you, and so that's not an option for them to even consider getting treatment in that regard. So I got the idea for this video months ago, but it took me this long to have the energy and the time and whatever to actually be able to record. But Netflix released this show called Cider, Vinegar, and it's based off of a true story. Netflix also has a documentary on the girl that it's based on, Belle Gibson. And basically this girl, she was this huge influencer who, this was like a decade ago, so there wasn't the term crunchy, but she was all about the natural foods, and she stated that she had terminal brain cancer but was managing her symptoms and living a healthy life because of her diet.
He said to me that I had a stage 4 brain tumour and that I had approximately 4 months to live.
To heal herself, she embraces alternative therapies, and eventually a new career and a new age celebrity is born.
I was empowering myself to save my own life through nutrition, patience, determination, and love.
You were absolutely misleading, weren't you? You said a doctor gave you this terrible prognosis in his office. Now, you've just admitted that you didn't say it was at your home and it wasn't with a real doctor because you thought people would be disappointed in you.
No, I believed he was a real doctor.
So did you lie to be believed, is the question.
I didn't see him in his doctor's office in Perth.
You didn't see him in his doctor's office ever because he doesn't have an office, does he?
No.
Right. You claimed also in your book that you underwent chemotherapy and radiotherapy for 2 months. True or false?
At the time...
True or false?
True, because at the time I believed I was having radiotherapy.
So, false.
So we're not going to get into Belle Gibson and all of the stuff that happened with her because that's like another hour-long video, and I'm not a commentary. I just make videos about my perspective. So anyways, but my point is that this has been a part of the internet that has been trendy for over a decade, and it just continues to gain traction with people. However, it quickly turns into very extreme viewpoints, and anything in an extreme can become dangerous. When I was watching the show and the documentary, I couldn't help but reflect on my own viewpoints on my health, my body, and also the way that I've approached getting treatment and trying to heal from this injury that has been debilitating me for years. And I couldn't help but ask the question, why have I never really been interested in this crunchy lifestyle? Before we go any further, I want to be very, very, very clear that this is not medical advice. This is nothing except for my own opinions and my own reflections based off my very specific and very personal experience with my own health and my healthcare journey. This cannot necessarily be generalized, but I just think that it's important for all of us to reflect on why we make the decisions that we do and to do what is best for ourselves with all of the information that we have available. That is it. Do not take this for medical advice. Do not take this as me saying that you have to do this or you can't do that. Do whatever you want. None of my business. This is just me talking to a camera alone in my room, so take it for what you need. Take it for what you will. Why is the holistic or crunchy lifestyle so trendy? This was a question that came up in my head lots of times as I was watching the show and as I was trying to write up the script for this video. And this is just my theory. I have no research to back this up. But what I think, based off of what I've experienced and what other people have experienced, and the commentary that I see within the crunchy lifestyle influencers, our healthcare, especially in North America, is incredibly broken. And so I think, honestly, it's pretty obvious why people turn to this different and alternative lifestyle, because modern traditional medicine isn't doing a lot for us. Being in the healthcare system, being sick, having a chronic injury, having pain, any health issue, honestly, can quickly make you feel really helpless, really alone, and everything is out of your control. Nobody's even listening to you, even though you're supposed to be at the center of the care. Doctors and specialists have a long and well-documented history of invalidating people, especially when they don't understand what is going on with the body of that particular person. People's opinions and experiences are quickly brushed off, and in particular, women experience this a lot. And what I found is that the crunchy or alternative holistic naturopathic lifestyle has a lot of women in it, and I think that this is a direct response to the way that women and just people in general have been treated by the traditional healthcare system. With traditional medicine, you go in, the doctor listens to you for about 5 minutes, and then they talk at you, they tell you what they're going to do. You don't really get an opinion because you're not the expert, and you comply or you no longer get treated. That is what happens. It is very impersonal, and it can feel very lonely. And so I think what is so enticing about the holistic lifestyle and approach to treatment and health is that you are at the center of it. Everything is in your control. You control your lifestyle, you control how active you are, you control your diet and your supplements. Even if you go to a healthcare professional that is considered untraditional, like a chiropractor or an osteopath, normally they take a lot of time to understand the medical history that you have. They listen to you and your experience. They have a much better bedside manner than other doctors in general. I know, I don't doubt that there's some really crappy chiropractors and osteopaths and whatever, but I'm just saying in general. And so you can have this feeling that if I just do things to the best of my ability, if I find this way that I'm supposed to live and I do it right, then I'm going to get better. It's all up to me. I have the power to make myself get better, and that can feel really empowering and really exciting when you've been stuck in this awful system that just is tossing you around from specialist to specialist who says they don't know what's going on, and you're on wait lists for 6 months just for somebody else to tell you that they're going to refer you to somebody else. To think that you're all of a sudden the one who gets to control your own health and your own life, it can feel very freeing. So if it can feel freeing and empowering, why did I never go down that route? Well, I think, honestly, first of all, this idea that like you are at the center of it and you control everything is a little bit arrogant and comes from a place of desperation. This need for control that we have, especially when we are in pain and we are struggling. So much of my anxiety, especially early on, was because my body was out of my control. I didn't understand why it was feeling these things, and I didn't know how to make it better, and so it would cause me to panic. And I did desperately want to be in control, but the reality is we're not in control. Nobody is. Doctors aren't in control, and they make that pretty clear with how little they seem to understand. But I think it's also important for us to understand that even if we do everything right, even if we eat right, even if we have the right lifestyle, take all of the supplements, do everything that we're supposed to do, sometimes we just don't get better. I mean, that's what happened to me. I have done everything that anybody has told me to do because I want to get better, and I don't want to ignore one type of treatment in case that's the one that helps me. I take the supplements, I do the dietary suggestions, I try my best to be active, but my body just doesn't cooperate still. And I think the hardest part with holistic care and with this crunchy lifestyle is you can do everything right and then you're still not better, and where does that leave you? Well, the onus then stands on you. You're not doing it right. You need to work harder. You need to do better. You need to research more. That's a lot of pressure and weight to put on yourself to heal yourself. Yeah, it can be exhausting and it can be frustrating to feel out of control of your own healthcare when you're in the traditional medical system. But you also don't have to have all the answers. You can go and say, hey, here's what I know from the years of experience of pain that I've had, but you're the one that has to figure out what to do to help me, doctor. You studied all these years, so this is on you. And that's really freeing when existing in of itself can be overwhelming. So I think there's very clearly pros and cons to even the mindset that you can have going into these different approaches of healthcare. Beyond that, the main reason why I personally have not ever felt the draw to a crunchy lifestyle is because of the extreme that it takes in basically villainizing anything that has connection to traditional medicine. Personally, I think that's incredibly stupid, to put it bluntly. The reality is, traditional medicine exists through research, through science, for a reason. I'm not saying it's perfect, believe me. I could criticize traditional medicine until I have no more voice. I have had horrible experiences with traditional medicine, and yet there have been things through the pathways of traditional medicine that have done so much to help me. And so to completely cut off things that could help you just for an aesthetic or just for a belief system that makes you feel good because you have control, I think that's a stupid reason. And again, I think it comes down to arrogance. I think personally, and again, this is not medical advice, do not listen. Remember, I'm a girl alone in her room talking to a camera. My advice doesn't need to mean anything to you. But where I have kind of landed through my health issues is that holistic medicine and traditional medicine should be working hand in hand. And it's ridiculous that they're seen as two opposite sides of a spectrum that are fighting against each other when they should all just be part of the system that helps people, and they should be merged together. That's my opinion. And it doesn't really matter, but that's also the way that I've approached my own personal healthcare. For example, I needed a psychiatrist. I needed the meds that he prescribed me. Yeah, he was a jerk. He was awful. He had zero bedside manner. He didn't bother to listen to me. He couldn't care less about my well-being. I was literally days away from a crisis, and only when I was like, I think this is it for me, that's when he decided, oh, maybe I should switch her meds, even though I'd been asking for him to switch my medication for months. But I just saw him as a broken piece within a broken system. But the psychiatrist profession itself is important and necessary, and I needed to see him to get the drugs that I needed. On the other hand, I also have experienced natural or holistic health care approaches that I also needed. Psychotherapy, desperately needed. It's the reason I'm alive today. I needed help to figure out how to be physically active with my pain. I needed help to understand where my diet was potentially not doing enough for me, and help to figure out what supplements to take that could help with my brain health. That was all of that was necessary. And it was a combination of the two approaches to healthcare. And I've kind of summarized the different things that I've tried to help treat my concussion symptoms in the past 4 years. You can see that physiotherapy was somewhat helpful. That was the first thing I was referred to through traditional medicine by my family doctor. Vision therapy, game changer. It's physiotherapy for my eyes, and it literally helped when I felt so stuck. It was so important for me to do. My family doctor has been helpful in referring me to people that I needed to see, like neurologists. Speaking of neurologists, mixed results, but again, necessary. Even the MRI that didn't show anything, it was important for me to get to know that I didn't have brain damage, so that could be crossed off the list, and then the treatments that I needed could kind of be narrowed down. On the holistic side of healthcare, my chiropractor has been a game changer as well. He's been the biggest thing for me in regards to actual pain management. Meditation and breath work have been really important in helping me manage my anxiety and improve my moods. Acupuncture honestly didn't really do anything for me. Massage therapy also, it was very time limited. It helped for 30 minutes. Psychotherapy, yes, the reason I'm alive. And diet and supplement adjustments. I need to do. I need to do everything possible to make sure that my body has all of the nutrients to be the best that it can, even if there's still pain left at the end of the day. So you can see that there's mixed results on both sides of the table, but this is just the reality. Our understanding as like just humans, our understanding of the human body is still incredibly limited, and the brain even more limited. We don't understand what is going on. Even the most specialized people, when it comes to understanding the brain, don't understand what's going on. And so it doesn't matter what approach I take, there's going to be limitations in every part of the journey, because human beings are limited. That can feel really scary. And sometimes I am scared because it's been 4 years and I'm still in pain. But we're not going to be able to control it even if we turn to a certain aesthetic or a certain lifestyle or a certain medical professional. Things are going to be out of our control no matter what. At the end of the day, I believe that non-traditional, more holistic health practices need to be acknowledged more, need to be seen as more valid, because my family doctor would never have referred me to a chiropractor, but that's been the biggest thing when it comes to pain management, and I would have missed out on that, which is horrible to think about. I think that as a society and as individuals, we need to do a better job of accepting that life is not black and white. There are grays, and there's good and bad in different things. And you can choose the good from multiple things. We need to be approaching health and accepting help from all sorts of methods and treatment. If you're denying yourself a certain approach entirely, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Anyways, that's all I have for you today, just my thoughts on this matter. So to end off the video, of course, we have a song recommendation. Today I am going back to my favorite artist of all time, Day 6. They released a song called Maybe Tomorrow, and it hit me hard. Even though it is kind of like a cliche concept, you know, take everything day by day. The way that they just always have a good way of writing the lyrics so that it feels so new and so eloquent, even if it's a concept or an idea you already knew of. Maybe tomorrow things will be different. That is the message that their song promotes. Things are hard, and things have been hard. But I'm gonna go to bed and I'm going to have this hope that maybe tomorrow things might be different. And that is this small, tiny hope that is gonna keep me going. And that's the way that I've lived my life for the past 4 years. I don't have a lot else to rely on, to hope in, but I can hope that maybe tomorrow things will be different. I'll be in less pain, I'll have more energy, and I'll be able to do things that I want. So listen to the song. May it instill in you just a tiny bit of hope that maybe tomorrow will be different. Because all we have to do is get through the day sometimes, right guys? Anyways, see you next time.
낮에는 게 안 보여도 그 너머를 상상하며 반복해. 내일이 오면 오늘보다 나아지겠지. 쓰라리는 이 상처가 좀 덜 아프겠지. 미소를 되찾는 나를 기다려. Maybe tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow.
I'm not centered. that's okay. I'm Amanda. I feel like that's not going to clarify anything. It's really the way that everything. Oh, why did my oh. When did this start? This feels like going all over again. That is the message at the end of the day. At the